Hello friends, in this video we are going to see Indian sugar industry and should you invest in it or not. At present this is the second largest agro-based industry in India after cotton textile, and they support 7% of rural population including farmers and people who are directly employed and also people who are indirectly employed by sugar industry. If we see sources of sugar, there are two plants. One it is sugar beet and the other is sugar cane. Sugar beet is grown in colder weather and sugar cane is grown in warmer weather. And this picture shows worldwide production. So blue here is for sugar beet and green is for sugar cane. So now if we see producers and consumers for this, largest producer of sugar in world is Brazil, followed by India, then Europe, China and Thailand. When it comes to consumers, it's India first and then European Union and then China and then United States. If you're wondering China with such a huge population is in third place, then that's because whenever you think of Chinese food, what do you think? It's spicy. So that answers all, and it says why China is third largest and not the largest consumer of sugar. Now, we have to see manufacturing process of sugar industry because sugar is not the only product here. We have several byproducts that comes out of manufacturing. So as we know, first step is the sugar mill should collect sugar cane from farmers and then they crush it. And from crushing this, we get sugar cane juice and bagasse. So until this process, I hope most of you have seen it because this is how sugarcane juice is made, and the waste which they throw out, that is bagasse, that can be used to generate power, and this power generated is used for consumption of their own plants. Also, the surplus they sell it to the state government at good price. Whereas from the sugarcane juice, it can be used to make either sugar, or from that we can make molasses which will be given to distillery and there they will make it as ethanol. So these are the various products that we get. One is sugar, there is ethanol or alcohol, then there is molasses, and then there is power generated by using bagasse. So these are the various products that is being made at sugar mills as of today, and we'll see how these byproducts are affecting, and is it good or bad for these companies to manufacture what product. So all this we'll see in detail. So first, if we see, let's say take 1000 kg of sugarcane, and from that 1000 kg of sugarcane, we can produce 100 to 130 kg of sugar, and then 11 liters of ethanol, and then around 25 kilowatt of electricity. So one more thing which we need to understand, that technical term is recovery rate. So recovery rate is nothing but the percentage of sugar that is produced from sugar cane. So in this case, we are producing 100 to 130 kg from 1000 kg of sugar cane. So here yield rate is 10 to 13%. So that is the range. And then electricity is used for their own consumption or they can sell it also. And ethanol also they can give it for various applications. So we'll see in detail all this. So now sugarcane first should be collected by the mills, and they are collecting it from the farmers. So whenever farmers are there, there is always government that is involved, and they set the price for at keeping the best interest of both mills and farmers. So this price is set by central government and it's called as fair and remunerative price. So again, this price is decided on the basis of recovery rate by the central government, and on top of this, state government adds its own price which is known as state added price, and this again is added on the basis of recovery rate. So for example, the recovery rate can be high in some states, can be low in some states. So the wherever recovery rate is high, the sugar mills will make more sugar from the same quantity of sugar cane, and that's why to make farmers to benefit farmers, they'll add their own price on the basis of recovery rate, and this again is kept in interest of both the mills and farmers, and nobody will go under loss by setting up of these prices. As I said, price is mainly decided on the basis of recovery rate. So neither farmer nor sugar mills undergo any loss. Until then, it's fine for both of them. Now, but things get interesting on what the sugar mills will do with the procured sugar cane. As I said, there are three different byproducts which can be made, and the quantity of what and how much will decide whether the company is going to make loss or profit. So current scenario, if we see in India, from sugarcane, all industries together in India will manufacture 32 MMT, that is million metric ton of sugar every year. And metric ton is nothing but it's 1000 kg. So 32 million metric ton is sugar manufactured, and then ethanol manufactured is somewhere around 325 crore liters. All this shows like current scenario. And then there is electricity manufactured. So the main problem arises with the quantity of sugar that's being manufactured, and the electricity part is fine, like they are doing it pretty decently, whereas sugar and ethanol is the part where some rebalancing is needed. So let's see what they do with the sugar that's being manufactured. So 32 million metric tons of sugar is manufactured. First, they'll supply it to the domestic market, that is for consumption within India. So domestic consumption is almost constant at around 26 million metric tons every year. It can either increase 1 million metric ton or decrease 1 million metric ton. And one more main thing you should remember is sugar mostly is consumed like from the sugar 32 million metric tons, 70% is sold to FMCG manufacturers. Like they do their products packed stuff. So for all this, highest amount of sugar is consumed rather than it selling directly to customers. Like customers, what we are eating is just 30% of entire sugar that is manufactured directly. Like I hope everyone has sugar at your home. So that constitutes only 30%, whereas remaining 70% is gone into manufacturing FMCG products. And so in this front, these companies can't do much because domestic consumption is almost constant. So now 26 million metric tons is sold. Okay. Now they are left with 6 million metric tons of sugar. So what they can do, they can export it. Yeah, that's a good idea, right? So export. So export, when it comes to, the problem is that international sugar price is 10 rupees lower than Indian price. Yeah, you heard it right. Internationally, sugar price is lower than Indian price, and this is one reason why they can't export it, because if they do, they'll go under loss. So what are the reasons for this? We'll see in next slide. And that's why they can't give it, or they can't export it, and they'll undergo loss. So the only option they're left with is to stock it for the next year. So if they do that, what happens is they already have collected sugarcane from farmers and they have to make payment. But if they don't do payment for the farmers, there will be liquidity crunch, and this will create problems. So government will again involve. So this is the reason why quantity of sugar manufactured determines fate of the sugar mills. So they can't export, they can't store it for next year also. So what should they do? We'll see that. Before that, we'll see why international prices are lower than Indian price. The yield per hectare is extremely low in India. So it's 64.5 tons. Hectare is nothing but 100 meter into 100 meter square field. So 64.5 tons of sugarcane is grown in hectare per hectare, whereas it's 90 tons in Java and 121 tons in Hawaii. And average recovery rate in India is somewhere around 11 to 13%, whereas on international standards it's very high. So this makes mills to make more from the same quantity of sugar cane. They produce more sugar, and that's why they're better off with it. And inefficient technology, as we know, in India, and uneconomic process of production, and lower per capita consumption of sugar in India. That is, in India we consume only 16.3 kg, even though we are largest consumer. That's because of our high population, but when we see it per person, we consume 16.3 kg, whereas in other countries it's way too high, and this domestic market demand is also not very high, and they can't do much about it. So all these are the reasons why international price is somewhere around 21 to 22 rupees, whereas in India it's 32 rupees. And this is the reason why sugar mills were given export subsidy last 2 years from the government. So if you're wondering, only last 2 years, before that, so before that what was happening was like the companies were manufacturing, but it was not even enough to meet domestic market. So sometimes we have even imported sugar from other countries. But last 2 years I've seen surplus, and there is continuous increase in sugar that's being manufactured. And again, that is a problem because now they have to export it, and for that they can't do it under loss, so they depend on government for subsidy, and government pays 10.44 rupee per kg to make up for the difference in international price. So they are dependent on the government, and this year it's expected that the sugar is going to be manufactured even higher, and then again government has to involve in it to give the subsidy. So sugar industry is a vicious cycle. So one basic thing to understand is that the price of domestic price of sugar is decided by the supply and demand. So if in domestic market sugar supply is very less, then the cost of sugar will increase. On the other hand, if the domestic market supply is more, then the cost of sugar will decrease. And to make sure that these companies don't go under loss, government has come up with minimum support price for sugar. So it's 31 rupees as of today, they might increase it to 33 rupees. So to understand vicious cycle, so let's see where we are at right now, right this point. So as I said, this year higher sugar production is expected. As a result, we are in this region, and then because of that, there is higher sugar availability, and because of this, the prices in domestic market will be at almost close to minimum supportive price, and because of that, the sugar mills can't make much money, and because of that, there is lower profitability, and due to this, they delay the payments to farmers, and because of this delayed payments, the farmers are now not motivated to grow cane next year, because cane cultivation takes around 10 to 15 months is their life cycle, and they are dependent entirely on sugar cane for their produce. But if these payments are delayed, for on what do they do, on or what else do they depend on? Whereas when it comes to wheat, rice, it's around 3 to 4 months. So even if one payment is not done, then there is other. But in sugar cane, they have to be paid right then and there, otherwise they don't have any source. Because of this, they don't cultivate much, and lower cane is produced in the coming years. And due to this, there is lower sugar that is manufactured. And because that sugar is low in the domestic market, the demand is very high and supply is low. There will be price in sugar, increase in sugar prices. And because of this, the companies will make more money, their profitability increase. And because of that, they will make higher and prompt payments to the farmers. As and when they make prompt payment to farmers, more and more farmers are motivated to cultivate cane next year. And because of this, when they grow more cane, there is higher cane production, then they make more sugar, and then there is higher sugar, and then again the price decreases, payments delayed, then price will, then sugar will decrease. So this is a vicious cycle, as you can see, around 7 to 6 years in that range. So it's a vicious cycle, and this sugar industry is really tricky to be operating in, and it's a game of demand and supply in domestic market, and they can't export it also without government help, and they can't store it also. So they are in a tricky position. But is there any option, like can this vicious cycle be broken? Yes, it can be broken, and ethanol is the answer. Ethanol is the answer for to break this vicious cycle. Brazil has done it many years back, and India can do it too. And this ethanol manufacturing should be done by replacing sugar manufacturing. As we saw, there is surplus, like 6 million metric tons was more than the domestic market, and we can't export also. So instead of that, we should replace it with manufacturing ethanol. But why? Why ethanol? They are depending so much. And in fact, government is also thinking of not giving subsidy this year, because they want more and more industries to manufacture ethanol this year rather than the sugar. So government doesn't want them to manufacture sugar, and they want more and more ethanol. Why is ethanol so important, and why are companies not ready to manufacture ethanol? So we'll see all this. So ethanol biofuel, basically what it is we can use 20% ethanol in petrol which we are using today to run conventional vehicles. So you can use up to 20% of ethanol. And what will happen, imagine. So we, India as a country, we import 80% of our crude oil from other countries, and this bill is around 8 to 9 lakh crore every year import bill. So if we use 20% ethanol, we can save more than 1 lakh crore on this import bill. And by doing this, they can save 1 lakh crore, and this 1 lakh crore can be given to farmers and again for sugar mills for manufacturing more ethanol. And it is also cleaner fuel, so it will reduce emissions from vehicles. And surplus sugar problem is also solved. So if we replace 1 million metric ton of sugar, we get 60 crore liter of ethanol. So do we need that much ethanol? So we'll see all that. So that we 20% ethanol in fuel target is by 2030, which is Indian government kept, and 10% target is a mid target for 2022, and 5% as of today. So it's around 5% fuel blending is done as of today, and they are targeting for 10% by 2022. Is it possible? Yes, US and Brazil, these countries are running ethanol on around 17% in the fuel. So they have done it. There is technology, vehicles are running. So India is also on targeting of doing this. So as I said, in 2019, ethanol production was around 300 crore liters. So to achieve 10% blending target by 2022, we need 650 crore liter, which is almost double of what it is in the current scenario. And that's why Indian government is pushing these mills to produce more and more ethanol than sugar, and that's why it's thinking of not giving subsidy. So so then if they're not giving subsidy, then why are companies still manufacturing sugar? Why are they doing it? So that is where some tricky part it is. So we need to understand that the from sugar cane juice which we got, sugar is extracted by repeating the step for 3 times so that more and more sugar is yielded. By doing this, what happens is after the third stage, whatever we are left with has very little sucrose content, and this molasses will give very low yield of ethanol. So to increase the yield of ethanol, what we need to do is that we need to stop it at the second stage of extracting the sugar, and then use that molasses to manufacture ethanol. And because of higher ethanol sucrose content, we get higher ethanol. But this second route, that is after stopping at second stage and extracting, the companies, they can't do it with present plant. They need to invest little time and money to upgrade their plants to manufacture ethanol from the second stage onwards. As of today, they do three stages of sugar and then they do. But if they do second stage, then they can reduce sugar supply, and in fact more and more ethanol can be produced. But they need time and money, and that's why they're asking government to give subsidy this one time, and then they'll improvise. So it's still need to be decided whether government will give it or not. It's still under discussion. Then few more facts which you need to consider before investing is that most of the sugar mills are concentrated in two belts. That is, one is in UP and the other is in southern region. So this part is peninsular and this is North Indian region. So these are the sugar industries, the North Point sugar, and there are very few in other regions. So now if we compare sugarcane of South India and North India, peninsular India has tropical climate, that is South India, and that's why its yield is higher than the North Indian sugar. So then the sucrose content is also high in tropical variety, that is South Indian sugar, and crushing season is also much longer in South than in North, and this gives more time for sugar mills to extract more and more sugar, and they have time, like they can plan accordingly regarding according to the demand they can produce sugar, and the cooperative mills are better managed in South. So this shows that South Indian sugarcane is better than North Indian sugarcane because of necessary like monsoon conditions and other things. But there is one more reason also which should be considered. Due to the following reasons, as we said, South Indian sugar is better than North Indian, but still UP has large amount of sugar cultivators. Why? That's because the frequency of irrigation, that is the amount of water that is needed to grow sugarcane in UP, is just one third when compared to South Indian sugar, and that's because of this region that UP has more sugarcane cultivators. And also sugarcane crop age is like 9.6 months in sugar in North India, whereas in South it's almost 13 months. So what farmers do is they grow for 10 months sugarcane and then they grow for 3 4 months wheat. So they are growing two different crops in the same year and they are getting more money. And also with technology, there is a hybrid plant called COO238 variety of sugarcane, and this has increased tremendously the sucrose content and thus high yield in even North Indian countries. So so as of now, it's on par like with the natural sugarcane in South and with the hybrid sugarcane in North. Both of them have almost same yield content, but we should see what will happen when this hybrid plants are grown even in South India. Maybe the yield might go even higher in South India. So these are the reasons. The main reason is that one third water is needed. That's also here you can see 292 liters for 1 kg of cane. Here it's 99 liters, and that's why in UP more and more farmers are again growing sugarcane. And one more main reason. Yeah. So before that, I want you to see this graph and tell me, can you see some discrepancy in this? Like, I want you to see, it's okay, you can just concentrate on these two lines. So pause and think about it. Okay, I'll continue. So you can see it's first UP, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Gujarat. So these three are like the main players in this. So UP has around these two almost contribute to 65 to 70% of sugar that's manufactured in India. So the discrepancy here is that you can see it was 10.52 million tons of sugar which was produced in Maharashtra, then 8.47, then it decreased to 4.2 drastically. It became almost half. So what happened? So that was the reason was because of drought. There was drought in Maharashtra in 2016, and sugarcane needs water, and it's a crop for entire year. So if there is drought even for 2 3 months, if plant die, entire year yield is gone. So that's what happened in Maharashtra in 4.2. That's why there was very low yield of sugar in that year. And as I said, sugar industry that shows that it depends on monsoons heavily. They need rain, they need proper water, and again, Maharashtra needs more water than UP. So that's why it's a really tricky for farmers as well as mill growers. So at the same time, during 2016 Maharashtra drought, what happened? The demand, like supply, became almost halved in Maharashtra. So there was a shortage in entire country for domestic sugar, and because of this, the prices led to prices increase. And due to this, the mills that are based out of other places like UP and Karnataka, they made multi-bagger returns. Like you can see in FY 2016, revenue was 2,806 for Balrampur, then 3,485. So you can see profit after tax in FY 16 and FY 17. You can see 100 to 591, 39 to 158 here, minus 32 plus 230. So almost five times, three times, six times their profit grew. And this is what happens when there is shortage in sugar within the domestic market. Their prices increase. As I said, sugar price is determined based on supply and demand, and there so that's what happened in 2016. Supply was less, demand increased, prices rose, companies made huge profit, and it gave multi-bagger returns also to the investors. At the same time, it has eroded capital of many retail investors also. So you can see in this that see this was the market cap in 2006, and this blue line it's gone down and little, and it has not even come to back to its 2006 levels. And orange again it has gone down. So most of the companies have gone down except for one. So this shows that these companies can make you wealthy in short run, but if you keep your money invested in this for very long time, then it's almost same. It doesn't increase much, but if you have to see that right time to increase, enter and then exit, then again enter and exit, then leave it, just leave it. So this is what has been happening from past many years in sugar companies. That is, their market cap has almost remained constant, and it's not creating wealth in long term. It's almost constant. So, but will this be changing from now on with ethanol manufacturing? Maybe, because we know crude oil will be with us here for many long years, and we can't use 100% crude oil because of pollution and also import bills. So government is pushing for 20% ethanol. All these companies need to do is they need to invest little in technology and manufacture. And ethanol, government has been giving very good incentives. Like they have increased price drastically, and recently also they gave 1 to 3 rupees hike for per liter of ethanol. So all this should encourage more of these sugar mills to produce more. So the ideal scenario would be for them to manufacture sugar just enough to meet the demand of domestic market, and then remaining you need to manufacture ethanol. So final thoughts, as I said, it's a tricky industry to be operating in. Even though the companies have capacity to produce sugar, they can't, because if they do, sugar prices will drop in domestic market, and with the excess they'll have to export, but they can't without government subsidy, and they can't even domestic store it because it will create liquidity crunch. So the only solution for these companies is to replace sugar with ethanol manufacturing, and thus they reduce the demand or supply, thus keeping it at a correct level, and maintaining good price, and then making extra income on ethanol manufactured, and at the same time saving some import bill for government too. So if government says 1 lakh crore, then this money will be again given to mills only. Like they'll give this money as an incentive, like for per liter, as I said, they're increasing the prices. So it's a win-win for both government and the mills. And so final thought is that from now on, whoever invests heavily and manufactures more and more ethanol, they can increase. And then look out for news like droughts, because they are not usually. I am saying that whatever is good in real life, whatever is bad in real life will be good in stock market. So monopoly business is not good in real life, but it's good for stock market. Drought is not good in real life, but if it's happening in regions like Maharashtra, UP, then it's good for industries that are based out of other regions because they give multi-bagger returns. Again, droughts are not good in real life and it should not happen. But if it happens, then you should make most out of it by investing in good companies and making quick money. So these are my final thoughts on this. Please, if you like the video, then like it. Do leave your feedback and share it with your friends and let them know. So as of today, I'm not interested in investing in this because the domestic consumption this year and the stock which was there from last year and production this year will create so much surplus this year that it can almost satisfy half of domestic needs for next year as well. But they can't store it and they can't export it without government's help. So they are really in a tricky situation and we should wait and watch. And if they manufacture more and more ethanol, then like those companies are going to stand out and they can create wealth. So when the time is right, I'll make a video on companies that are there in sugar industry and I'll tell about it. So until then, thank you and make money.